Hello, hope you're well. In this video clip, I will compare Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Power BI, and Tableau, which are widely used in data analysis and data visualization. Power BI and Tableau are interactive data visualization and business intelligence tools. And while Microsoft Excel has been used for many years, Power BI and Tableau have become popular recently. For example, Power BI initially released in 2014. In this video, I will analyze a sample data using these software applications. Okay, now let's start with Microsoft Excel, and I have a data set. We have sales data. We have some information about each product, unit price and unit cost. Just change this one to unit cost, it's better. Now we have also the location. Basically, we have the name of the cities, but here also we know the name of the state, and it's basically sales data for 3 products in different Australian cities. That let's assume that we have a distributor in these cities, and we sell our products via selected distributors in these cities. And if you want to know where is the state of each city, you can see the location tab. Then we have sales, product, and location. And let's just, if you want to have some simple analysis here, you know that we can, for example, use pivot tables and things like what's the let's just start with the product itself, then orders between rows, and then quantity. Now something like this can let us know that how many products for each type we sell in each month. Also, I can simply create a chart and show this one also graphically. And what's good is now if I also want to filter and let's say only choose one specific product, here I can easily do so, and this table also will be updated accordingly. Or if I want to just do the same for months, you know that I can just select a specific month and so on. Then for cells, which is, let's go back and call this one cells quantity, or monthly sales quantity. Then we can have monthly sales quantity easily. But now the challenge here is, if I want to know that how can I have monthly sales or even monthly sales quantity for each state, instead of, let's say here months, I want to have different states and see that how much I sell in each state. Then maybe a traditional way would be we can create a state column here and add VLOOKUP function, which let me also to this one bigger, then you can easily see. Then we can say we want to find Melbourne, for example, Then from this list of locations, then I can just choose sorry, I do it again. I choose location. I go up. Okay, now you can see I have chosen the location. Also, because I want to copy and paste this, I want to put dollar signs because this range is not going to change. And then because the state is in the second column, I choose 2, and I want to choose exact match. Then I add false. That's it. Then what happens? Now I have Victoria here. Then we know Melbourne is the capital of Victoria. Then simply if I copy and paste this one to the rest, you can see that now I have easily the state name in front of each city. Okay, now simply if we do this, now if we run again another pivot table, and then I include the cell state as a column in the data set. Now here I can again choose the product, the states, and quantity. Now also now you can see that I have different states. And also what you can do is simply sort your data here like this to see that which state is going to have more cells and things like that. But anyway, what's important is we use a traditional approach to find out how we can find data from another sheet or another data set using this VLOOKUP function. But instead of this way, I want to link these two data sets and saying that whenever that we see Melbourne here, it's automatically can be connected to this Melbourne and create a relationship between these data sets. And instead of using VLOOKUP and the traditional way that we link data to each other, learn that how we can do it using another tool that we have available in Microsoft Excel. I'll do that in a moment. Okay, now let's just use new method to be able to do the same that we did for adding a state using VLOOKUP. Let me just delete this because we don't need to use this traditional approach. What we need is creating or defining this sheet as a table. Then this sales sheet will be converted to table. You can simply choose the area and then go to home. Then we have format as table. Then simply you can format this one as a table. I have headers and the whole area is selected, and that's all easy. And also I can change the name instead of table 1 to cells. Then I can do the same for product. Then I go to form as table. Now I have this and change the name. And for location. Then I need to take this box. This one is location. Okay, now what we did is creating these three tables. Basically, I don't need this, which I deleted the states. I just delete this report as well because I want to do it differently. And I need then to go and create this. First of all, we need to create data model, and for data model is when you go to Power Pivot, you can, for example, add this table to data model first. Okay, now it's preparing that. Now I have this table into my data model. Then also what I can do is adding the other tables. Can close this and do the same for this table. Then do this one for location as well. Great. Now I have three tables added to the data model, and also you can go to manage to see what we did. Basically, we have sales, product, and location. Now, what's the advantage of this Power Pivot in Excel, which we can create a data model? It's just linking these tables, and it can be easily done if we go to diagram view. Now I have product here, and I just simply drag and drop this here. You see a link has been created. This 1 to a star here means that we have one product here, but this has been repeated in my sales table many times. And again, here for city should be the opposite, that the city here is has been repeated once. For each city we have just the name of the city and the state, and this would be one to many from this table. And here you see that is one too many, or maybe if I move this one, maybe it's easier to see now. Okay, now I link these two tables, and the advantage is I don't need VLOOKUP anymore, and you would see that how things become much easier to manage. Now let's just go back to our Excel. Let's say here I can create another report, and let's say I want to have a pivot table, and then do the same that I did for the previous one that I used VLOOKUP. Basically, I want to know the amount of cells for each state. Now, instead of selecting a range, now you need to select data model here. Then if we go to this, now what's interesting here, then you see we have a number of tables and their fields here. Then it's different from what we had before. Now there is a link between them, and it has been recognized by creating that data model. Now let's go and select states. Product should come from cells, but the state comes from location table. But it's like that they have been in one data set, then there is a link, and behind the scene Excel recognizes that it's like that it's doing the same that VLOOKUP does for you, and you don't need to create a separate column. Now, if we have quantity sum, yeah, you see that I simply created this, and that's it. Now let me change the name, cells by state. Yeah, as you could see, then with creating data model, now we have this link, and then even if you want to have anything else from other tables, we can use this link, and instead of VLOOKUP, create that link behind the scene and then do such analysis. Okay, the other thing that we want to do is now creating some new things that we traditionally were doing differently. Let's say that here, if I want to know that what would be the profit for each product, then I could create the profit column and then just find the difference between unit price and unit cost here. But let's just see that how we can data model. In our data model, then we can simply add a new column which already is there. The only thing is I can write the formula. If it's just for one table, it would be easy. I would have simply this cell is equal to unit price minus unit cost, yeah? And then you see automatically all values have been copied and created without doing anything else. Now also I can change the name of the column to profit margin, or maybe profit margin is fine. Profit margin per unit, but I don't want to make it too long. Let's just leave it as profit margin. Okay, that's now we have created a new column. Now let's say that I want to have another column here. Then we have quantity. Then I want to have another column that shows me that how much would be the order cost or order revenue. Then you can see that we have unit cost and unit price. Then if I want to calculate, let's say what would be order price, then we can simply have price per unit multiplied by the quantity. Then let's just create that one. Then we would have simply sales quantity. But now we cannot simply multiply this by having the name of this unit price. As you can see, if I do, what would happen? I would have an error here. Then what we need to do, because that one product unit price belongs to another table, what we need to do is use a function called related, and saying that we need to go and pick this value from another table. And if we do so, which let me make this one bigger, then you can see exactly what I did. Then sales quantity multiplied by related, then we have product unit price. Then quantity comes from sales table, unit price comes from product table. Now if I do this, you can see now I know that what's the price, what's the total price for each order. And also, let's just change this one to sales dollars. Okay, now basically we have the quantity and we have sales dollars. Again, if you want to create a chart or a table that shows that what's the sales dollars in different states or different months, then we can easily do so. And let me, you can just do it directly from here by choosing this pivot table here, or we can close this. Now, after closing data model, then we can create a new sheet here, going to pivot table, again choosing data model, and then here you can see that sales dollars has been added to the list of fields from sales table. And now if you want to, let's say, do any analysis based on the product, month, and then sales. Yep, then you can simply create this monthly sales in dollars. And then I also can add this chart. Now I can see the amount of sales for each month. Yeah, then as you can see, instead of adding things here, we can simply go and create things using data model. And then that's a very powerful tool, as you can see. Okay, now the next interesting feature that I want to talk about is creating measures, which we will use later in Power BI as well. But let me just show you here that what we do, let's say that in traditional way, when we have quantities, if we want to know what's the total quantity, we simply create a sum function at the end of this table. Yep. Or we can calculate the maximum order, minimum order, or any similar function that we use in to analyze data, see that what has been the maximum amount of order in the list. Now, what we do here is, instead of traditional way, then we want to do this one using data model that we have created. Then we go to these measures and create a new measure, and then we select the table that we want to create that measure for, like sales table, and then you know that I created sales dollars. Yeah, if you remember, I have sales dollars, and I can type this, and you see that I get this message here. Simply, I can have these sales dollars. Okay, then it says sales dollars, from table sales dollars, and then I decide which function I want to use. Let's say maximum, minimum, some average, even average amount of sales for each order, for the total orders that we have. Different functions that you can use, and then that's it. Let me just make this one bigger, then you can see what I did. Basically, I calculated the sum of cells. Okay, now what happens is, if I go back to my data model here, you see that now I have created a new measure. Also, I could change the name. which I forgot, but let's say make this one as total sales in dollars. What's interesting now, I can create new other measures, like instead of sum, I can have the maximum, minimum, or other functions that I can define. Also, what would be interesting is define, I think that's basically this. Also, if you want to define, let's say, total profit, also you can create a column here to have the difference between sales and cost, and then calculating total profit. And let's just do that also here. Then we know that if we want to have the cost here, we can just do something similar to what we did here. Instead of unit price, then we can have cost. Then basically it will be order cost. Then we would have this quantity multiplied by related, and then we refer to the product, and maybe it's easier to choose from this list, product unit cost, and that's it. Now also I can change the name to order cost. Now I have simply order cost, I have sales, then the difference is going to be profit here. Which I can define as simply sales minus I didn't do it properly. Sales profit is equal to sales just typing makes it easier. Sales dollars minus, then we have order cost. Okay, now all values have been updated. Now we have profit, and then instead of, let's say, total sales in dollars, we can have total profit as well. Profit can be defined as a measure. Then as you can see, then basically instead of going to the data pivot tables, then going to here might be easier. That I have already created this measure that you saw that how I did before. Even I can create measures directly here, and let's say I go to the next line and simply paste this and modify this. Maybe it would be easier to do so, and instead of sales dollars, we want to have profit. Yep. Then instead of going to power pivot, you simply just directly created here in the next line. Now if I do, then I should have profit here. Okay, it appeared, and maybe it's better to make this one bigger to be able to see the whole number. Yeah, you see that we have, make this one bigger for you to see that we have this total profit, and also total sales in dollars also has been added here. Okay, that's good. Okay, now you know that the not only you can have information here, then we can go back to our Excel file and then basically showing that how we can have those measures here. Let me just create a new sheet here and then create pivot table, again referring to data model. Now if I open this, you see that I have now the list of measures that I have created here. Then let's see what would happen if I choose total profit. Then you see it's only a single number. Then I have $476,750 profit. Then the advantage here is now I can play with this number, and let's say I can have profit for each product, then I can have, then for each one how much profit I make, or even linking this to a state, let's see that how much profit I make in each state. Not only I will have that total, but also I can have another variable to analyze further, or by date, then let's say that what's the profit that we make every month, and then having a line chart like this. What are the months that we make more profit than the rest? Here, as you can see, that's the other advantage of using data model here. Then let's just call this one monthly profit. Now basically we reviewed different features that we can use in Microsoft Excel to analyze data, linking different tables, and then some analysis that you saw here. Then now let's just go to Power BI and then see how we can do similar things in Power BI and what would be the differences. Now let's start with Power BI and then creating something similar to what we did in Microsoft Excel. The first step is getting data. Then we need to import data from dataset, and usually we have it in Microsoft Excel. What I do, I import data from an Excel file. Okay, we can choose a data set. And just by the way, I want to mention I'm using Power BI Desktop, which is a free version available and everyone can download. Going to Microsoft website. Anyway, we tick these boxes. Basically, we have 3 sheets as you saw in the Excel file. and simply then we can load it to our data set. The only thing that you might see here, the date here has been converted to a number, then we will fix it also. We can use another option here, but I will fix it later. Let me just have the data uploaded. Great, okay. And I just uploaded data from the original data, and I didn't change, I didn't use the data set that I added, the data model. It's just the raw data that I had. But anyway, let's just have a look and see. We have three options here. This is the graphs or tables that we want to, something like pivot tables and things that we want to create. Then the second option here would be the list of tables, and then here the relationship. And you see that automatically it found the relationship between sales and product, but not for location. And let's see what's wrong with that. And here in the right side, I have location, product, and sales. Basically, I have the list of tables here. Location has problem because the titles are not right. Product, unit price, and cost per unit. Or maybe I can change that one to unit cost to be consistent with the file that we created before. To change the name, just you can simply go here and change the title here. That's good. Now, what was wrong here was the location. As you can see, the problem is it didn't recognize the first row is the title, the heading. Then we need to fix this. First, let me simply change the name instead of column 1 and column 2. Then we have city, then state. And what Power BI can do when you transform data to Power BI also, it does help you a lot in terms of fixing some issues with the data, but I avoided to use that to make it simple. But anyway, that's an option that you can also consider. Now, after we did this, then we need to go and find an option for transforming data. I will go to this option of the relationship between tables, and before defining the relationship, I choose this transform data to be able to have access to my data set. Then simply I can choose this first row, and then I can delete this by simply choosing remove the top row. And then I want to delete the first one. That's it. Now we clean this data and we have, seems that we have no issue here. Here seems to be fine. And for cells, as I mentioned before, date has been converted to a number. Then we can simply change the format of the data here. And we right click on that and then change type to date. Now all have been converted to dates. Now we have this one. Now the last thing that I want to do after fixing the data, let me save this. Then fixing the relationship, because it didn't recognize the first row as the titles. Then now we have city here, we have city here. You simply can connect this by dragging and dropping city from one side to the other, and now the relationship has been established. Now we are ready to do the same analysis that we did before in Microsoft Excel. Now let's go to our Excel file and see what we did. Monthly sales quantity is what we can create now. If we go to this like report, then we have these tools here. Now also in the right side we have the list of fields. Then basically we have the tables, and all we need is data from only sales table. And then we want to create something like a pivot table. We have an icon here, a matrix here. Then if I use this, then I would be able to have rows, columns, and values, very similar to what we had for pivot tables. Then I would have let's say rows for order date. Then I can choose the product in columns, and then quantity for values. And it's just based on the year. And imagine we can change the levels and say, let us start only from months, that it's very similar to, just apply these changes. Removing this. Yep, now what we can see that we have a similar table that we had in our Excel file. If we want to create a graph or chart, then again won't be difficult. We can choose one of them. What's important, just be careful when you click on any object here and you choose any of these visualizations here, then it will be converted to something else. Then let's say if I choose this, that it will be converted to a chart. That's the reason that I want to just keep this one as it is and then create another chart here. Then I can simply add a chart. You need to click somewhere else, not on this object, otherwise this one will be converted instead of creating something new. And the good thing about Power BI is these objects are easily movable, and then we can create what we want. And again, we can choose to make it similar to this. We have months. Then axis is going to be months. Then again, we can only have months, and then we have product as legend, and the value is going to be quantity. And then here you can see that we have that monthly. What makes Power BI very interesting is the interaction between different, let's say, the visualization tools that we have. If I click on, let's say, in particular column here, then you see that this table is going to be updated, and it's going to change. Or if I choose only alpha 5 in January, let's say, you see that it highlights the position of that in my chart. And that makes it unique and interesting. If you just want to have a specific information and find it in the chart, then you can highlight and then see that just this particular month, that it will be highlighted. Anyway, now you can see that we created this, and again, let me call this one monthly sales quantity, similar to what we did with the Excel one. For the second page, we have sales by state. Basically, what we did, we given that the link that we created between cells and location, we could see the position of states. Then let's go here and let me change the name now. Okay, now then it would be very similar to what we did before. We have a matrix here, and then we can choose state from location. I can just drop it here. I want to have it in rows. Then we would have product from cells, and then quantity again. Yeah, it would be exactly the same as what we did in our Microsoft Excel file. Then we can have again a chart and do the same states. Then we have the product, and then we have values. Yeah, now we created the second one. Then for monthly sales quantity, then let me just copy the name, and then we are going to create again something similar. Can rename the page monthly sales quantity. Do we have did I choose the matrix? No, I think so. Yeah, this is the matrix. Okay, now sorry, I have made a mistake. Monthly sales in dollars. I was thinking that why we are repeating the same thing. Yeah, then it's in dollars, and then if you remember, we needed to have some calculations behind calculating this, and to do so, we needed to calculate sales in dollars. Then basically we needed to create another column that multiply quantity by this unit price. Then we need to do the same in Power BI, and it's very similar to what we did before. I think that is misspelling here. Monthly. Okay, now then to create this, then we need to go back and add a column to our exactly the same that we did to our sales table. We need to have sales dollars. And to create a new column for our sales table, we can go and choose that sales table, going to these tables here, and then click on cells, and then you can see that under table tools we have new column, Then if we click on this, we would be able to create a new column, and as we had it before, we can call it sales in dollars. And that's equal to, if you remember, it's exactly the same style that we used for calculating our sales in dollars in Microsoft Excel. Then we have order quantity, and we multiply that. Let me make this one bigger. We have quantity multiplied by, again, because the price is coming from another table, we use the same function that we use in Microsoft Excel, related, and then we choose unit price. That's it. And now we have a new column. Yep, then we have sales in dollars, and now all data has been updated. Now we can simply go back to reports and then complete the rest. Now you see that the new column has been added. Then it would be relatively easy. We would have date, we would have products, and for values we choose sales in dollars. And again, I can remove year and just have the monthly data, which would be good enough. That's it. And then I can also create a chart similar to the previous ones that I did, and then use the same data, and then date, product, and instead of quantity I would have sales in dollars. And again, I remove some of information to make it as the same as what we had in our Excel file. Good. Now we created the same, and now you have learned how we add a new column, which was very similar to what we did in Microsoft Excel. Now the last one was monthly profit, and what we did, basically we created a measure, and then that would be something different than having a column. And now you will see that how we do it in Power BI. Let me just remind you what we did. We simply created these measures like total profit and total sales in dollars. Okay, to do so, we need to add, we have sales in dollars, then we need to have order cost, and then we create this something similar, and a similar column here. We go to table tools and column tools, and then we will add a new column, and this time instead of sales we have cost. Then I call it order cost, and it's equal to, and again we have the quantity is the same from sales table, but because we need to take cost data from table of product, then we add the function of related, which is the key. That's something that we need to do. Now instead of unit price, you will have unit cost, and that's it. And again, now we created another column basically. Now after we did this, we now can create another
column for profit, which would be the difference between sales in dollars and order cost, basically our profit for each order. Then we would have profit, and then here, because both sales in dollars and order costs are from the same table, then we have no difficulty. We simply can type their names, and as you can see, just type their names and then I call it profit. That's it. And again, if I enter here, you will see that now the new column has been created. Now, if you want to then create a measure based on, that, let's say that summation of profit or summation of sales in dollars, basically total sales in dollars, then we need to create a measure. And to create a measure, we can go to Table Tools and then New Measure. And again, it's very similar to what we did in Microsoft Excel. And then let's just call this measure Total Profit. And as you can see, I can simply type total profit and then again use the same function of sum, and then I will choose profit, sales profit, then, and as you remember, also we can create different measures, even calculating or using different functions, maximum, minimum, things like that. Now we create this measure, and then you will see that this measure has been added in the list of fields for table cells, And again, we can have even a new measure like total sales, similar to what we did for our Excel file, is equal to, again, sum of, let me just make this one bigger, then you can see that sum of, then we have cells, and that I can find it from the list instead of typing. That's it. Now also this one is going to be added to our list here. Here we have total cells or in quantity or quantity cells. Great. Now let's just go and create our next report, monthly profit. And as you remember that we simply can create something like profit here. It's just one measure, and let me go back here to remind you what we did before. Sorry, this one. Basically we have the monthly data, and then we had the total profit. Now it's just the profit itself, but also if I want to basically drag and drop profit here, and then it gives me the options to add more, something similar to what we did before in Microsoft Excel. Then I can have order date, then we would have profit then in different months, and also I can even add the product and see that how much product I have made from each product. Yeah. And also it can be changed to metrics, similar to what we have in our Microsoft Excel. And even I can copy this object and then convert it to, when I copy it, the second one is on top of this, then I need to move this to see this one and then change it to a chart like this. Yeah, the problem is now I need to move products to legend, and then to have something similar, and I can just have only what's why we have all these numbers. I think that maybe, yeah, if you just go with month, that would be fine. I think that now we should have something similar. Okay, now we just wanted to see monthly profit, then we ignore the product itself in this chart. And here also we don't need to know the profit for each. For consistency, I simply remove that. I just want to see and then change the chart to this. Yep, now we have the same chart that we have in Microsoft Excel. Here also for consistency, I remove the product from the column. And now we have the profit. And then also what we can do using publishing these reports in a dashboard, and then it would be an online link that you can share with your colleagues that they have Power BI, basically the online version. But anyway, which is beyond the scope of this video, and I have a video clip about doing that. It's a 1 hour video clip how you can use Power BI, and all has been explained in details, and I can possibly add or show you that in a moment. But for the purpose of this video, that's about doing the same that we created in Microsoft Excel. Basically, that's the video, Power BI in 1 hour with an example. Then if you want to see more about how we can publish data and share data using Power BI, then that does help. We can create a dashboard, and yeah, you can see more information here. But anyway, which is, as I said, beyond the scope of this video. And now I'm going to explain how we can use Tableau to do the same that we did in Excel and Power BI. Okay, now start with Tableau, and then a free version is available for 15 days, and then you can simply download from their website. And again, similar to what we did with Microsoft Excel and Power BI, we do it here. The first thing is importing data, and then because the data file that we have is in Microsoft Excel format, then we choose Microsoft Excel. Okay, I choose an Excel file that I have prepared, and after I choose it, you might not see it in the screen, but anyway, it's just simply choosing a file, and then the file will transform to data source in Tableau. And let's just have a look. If I have the location, you can, if I double click, I can see the location. I can see the product. Here it wants to create a link between databases, which I will, let me just remove it for a second. Even let me just remove this. Then to just see the data set, yeah, then the data has been transformed with no problem. Again, order, product, city, everything is there. Now I have no problem with the data. Okay, now cells has been added to this space, which we can create the link. You can see that basically we want to find the link between sales, product, and location, which we did before. If I choose and product and drop it here, automatically the link will be created, and then we can do the same for location. And you see that it says that we have product and product in these two, which I just simply accept this, and we don't need to change anything. And when we do location, and again automatically a link will be created, and we know that the city is the field that is the same in both. Okay, now we have a connection, then we can simply do the whatever that we did before. Let's just go to our Microsoft Excel file, and then monthly sales quantity. We have this sheet here, then we can simply monthly sales quantity, and I call it table, and the reason that I call it table I will explain later, but let's just have the table first and then the graph. One of the differences that we have in Tableau here, that let's say here in Power BI, I could just create more and more object in one page. I could just add another graph here, something completely different than what I did before, and just add as much as I want to one page. But in Tableau, the structure is different. We have only for each basically worksheet that we have, we can create only one table or one chart. And now I'm going to do that for, let me just choose the format, or maybe creating the dataset first. Where is the product? Okay, that's the product. And then I put it in the I would have it in the column, order date in rows. Okay, then change this one to month, and then simply I will have sales as a quantity in sales, which I simply drop in the middle area, and it goes basically here in this box. And yeah, now I created monthly sales quantity in a table. Now I can do the same. Now create a graph, and basically if you want to create a graph using the same, I can simply copy this, and I can paste it and change this one to chart here. Okay, now I can simply change this one to a chart by just going and find the relevant chart here. The charts that we have available in Tableau would be a bit different, but maybe this one is the most closest one that we can choose. It's we have months, we have products, and as you can see that we can make a comparison, which is a different version of this basically. But anyway, now we have our sales quantity and monthly sales in the table and chart separately. And then we have what we have here as dashboard. Then it's the place that we can then add different worksheets together, then which I will show you in a moment. It's similar to what we do in Power BI as well, but in Power BI, in each page, which is like a worksheet here, we can add more objects, which we can do it here. Then here, basically for each table or graph, I need to create two worksheets in my Tableau. Then sales by state, again I can have sales by state as a table and then as a chart. Then for the table, again we choose product, then a state should be from a state city. I think there's something is wrong because we don't have location is on top. Sorry, the location is there, but why it disappeared? But anyway, we can check this relationship here, then ensure that the connection is right. Then we have the location, which seems to be fine. Product. Okay, then if it's a problem, then you can check and ensure the link has been created. That's the key. And also, maybe that would be good to check something. Click on this line, which shows the link. You see that there are some options here. And what we have here is the relationship is going to be many to many, which is not necessarily right, because in cells we repeat the location many times, but in location table we don't. And then this one should be one to many. I think that's something that we need to check, because each item or each city in a location table has been repeated once, and then we have it has been repeated many times in the sales table. Then that's what we need to ensure it's there. Then maybe we needed to check that one even at the beginning. Let's just check sales and product would be the same. If I left click on this, you see that again it's many to many. Let me just fix that one again. That would be product is going to be in product table. We have only the name of the product has been repeated once, but that the same product name has been repeated many times in sales table. Then the relation should be one to many. Anyway, I think that's something that we needed to do at the beginning. But now I think that should be fine to continue. Let's go and have the rest. Where we sales by state, and we have the state, and we have the product, and then simply quantity. Where is the quantity? Yep, that's a quantity. Yep, then we created this. And again, I can copy and paste these to have a chart instead of a table. Then simply, I don't need to do much, simply choose this and change it to a graph or chart or anything that it represents what you want. And even we can have a map, and it's something that we could have in Power BI as well. Then it shows that how much you sell in each state and even the percentage of each product. Anyway, then that's very easy to change things. Now, if we go to, this is sales by state and monthly sales in dollars. Now, it goes back to calculating this sales dollars, and then we need to learn how we can add a new something like a column that we did in Microsoft Excel and Power BI, and how we can link them. Now, what we can do, it would be even easier than what is easier than Power BI and Microsoft Excel. Simply we go here and click on this arrow, then shows the first, and then choose the first one, which is create calculated field. And then we can simply change this one to sales in dollars. And then what's good for Tableau, that you don't need to be worried of having the name of the tables, or even having the function of related automatically. It would recognize that. Then we had unit price, and then simply type and it will appear here. So just do it again, then you can see. Okay, that's it. And then if I click on OK, then I would have a new measure here called sales in dollars. Now, if I want to use this one, would be very easy, similar to, instead of, for example, here quantity, I use this sales in dollars, and then the rest would be the same. I would have the order date, product, and also here, let me just choose the month, and then simply I will drop this sales in dollars here. That's it. And yeah, now I have sales in dollars for each product. And if we go back here, yeah, you see that I created the same thing. And again, for having a chart, we didn't mention, which is this one, is monthly sales in dollars. Then we have this as a table. Then if I copy and paste this and move this one to end and rename this one to chart. Now I can simply change this one to a chart similar to what we had in Excel file. And now we had, then basically the concept of measure here is a bit different than the measure that we used in Power BI. And then even this one is a measure, but in Power BI we had this sales in dollars as a column. And then when we calculated profit, yeah, it was a measure. But here all will be listed as measures here. Now for doing calculating profit, we also do the same. Then if we want to have total profit as a measure that we used in Excel and Power BI, and then we can basically do the same. Okay, now let me just go back to your Excel file and show you what we did. To remind you again, this is what we had in Excel, and we had this measure total profit or total sales. Then we can simply use the same functions in Tableau, but we don't have the concept of the columns and creating new columns in Tableau. Now let's we have cells in dollars, then we need to create another one like order cost, similar to cells in dollars. Then it would be quantity multiplied by, this time instead of selling price we have unit, or instead of unit price, sorry, we have unit cost, because I want to know the order cost. That's it. Now I have this measure here. Now to calculate profit, again we have the cells in dollars, minus order cost. Then if we create this, now we have total profit. And even we can create total. Basically, what it's like that we calculated profit, but automatically it recognizes if you need to have total profit as well, which I will show you what I mean by that again in a second, because we could use the function of sum here as well, and I will show you the difference, and you see the result would be the same. Anyway, we have the product here. Again, we can have it as a column. What we did was, oh no, we don't need product, we just want to have it monthly. Let's just make it simple. You just can drop it somewhere. Now we have the date, and then we just want to have profit. And then if I change this one to month, then it should give me the same results, you know. Then I have 476,000 as the total, and then monthly one also is given if we want to have it in a year. Yeah, issued 476,000. Anyway, if we simply change this one to monthly again, can just go back, make it the same. Okay, now then this is what we have for profit, or I can call it monthly profit, and it's a table. Then we can simply convert this one to a chart. And basically you simply need to change this here. Then we can see the profit in the chart. To make it a bit smaller to be able to see the whole graph. Yep, that's monthly profit chart. And yeah, that's about it. But also, if you want to see that how we can run the function of sum in this case, you know that we could have had something similar to what we had as, let's say, profit, and then sales in dollars minus order cost. Basically, profit for each order can be calculated like this, and then we could have then total profit as because I have already have the same name, I will call it total profit, call it 1. Then this one, it will be like sum of, which is a function of sum, and then profit. You know, we could have done it this way as well, but the result could be the same. I could simply have then date and then here total profit. So the profit should be here, and then which is an aggregated number, and then just leave it, put it here. Okay, now I don't need this one. And that's it. Yep, then I have the same table as you can see. Yeah, you know that the difference is in Tableau, possibly what you create as measures would be a bit different than what we do in Microsoft Excel and Power BI. Basically, we don't need to add columns. And also, for example, you didn't need to add the function of related to show the connection between tables. Yeah, it's from that sense, it's easier. And the final thing that I want to show you, let me just delete this one, is now combining, because now in Tableau we had lots of worksheets, and then if you want to combine it, would be relatively simple. You can go and create a new dashboard. That's after a new worksheet you have dashboard here. Let me make this one bigger for you to see. This is the dashboard, and simply you have all those worksheets that we created. You can drop this one here, drop the chart beside that, you know, then even having different ones, you know, here and there. As you can see, it's relatively simple. And what also can be done in terms of interactiveness of what we have here, basically when you choose an item, or let's say part of the graph, then if you for example filter that, you see that it affects all other charts and tables that you have. Then the functionality would be a bit different. You see that when I simply choose, nothing happens, but if I filter it, then everything will be filtered accordingly. Then yeah, it's not like what we did in Power BI, simply clicking on something. You just need to use a filter as well. Anyway, hopefully this video has been useful, that you now are able to use Microsoft Excel, Power BI, and Tableau, and at least basic knowledge of all, and to analyze data. And good luck.